Hi, my name is Chris Lowerson. I am a graduate student at the Zicklin School of Business at Baruch College. This is my midterm project for CIS 9467 with Professor Adrian Wheeler. I decided to do my midterm project on the New York City Universal Pre-K program. As a father of two young children, this directly affects me and my family. And, we've had a really positive experience with the program so far. If you don't know, the Universal Pre-K program is a program in New York City that guarantees the families of 4-year-olds the right to send their kids to pre-K in the city in a program that's administered by the city. So whereas school used to start at kindergarten, now it starts at 4 years old. Universal Pre-K was a platform that Bill de Blasio ran on, and I think has been really warmly received by the citizens of New York. It's really great, to be able. It allows families who may not have otherwise been able to send their kids to pre-K the ability to do so, and it's also very helpful for parents who work, which nowadays is most parents. So we've had a really great experience with it, and I think that it seems as though it's become very popular in New York City. From what I understand, it's also supposed to be expanded to 3-year-olds, and it's just another reason that it's great to live in New York City. I got all of my information from this website, the New York City Open Data website, and this is a really cool website that the city does where they aggregate all sorts of different data that citizens may be interested in. NYPD complaint information, transportation information, such as cabs or links for city bike or yellow cab information, everything from the different trees in the city to information about public parks, everything that an engaged citizen would probably need in order to be informed and make informed decisions. So the two sets of data I got from this were information on the UPK program, and I also got population data that had been aggregated by the census starting in 1950 with projections to 1920, 2030, and 2040. To start off, let me start by showing my PowerView slide. I really like the visual appeal of PowerView. I feel like the functionality isn't as robust as other options in Excel, such as like Power Pivot and Pivot. But visually, I think it's really appealing, and you're able to create some things that are really really interesting. So right over here, I have the contact information in contact card form for all of the different schools in the city from all the different boroughs. And over here I have the location names, basically the school names. And over here I have it filtered by borough. And this all corresponds to the map as well. So right now we're just looking at contact information and school names from the Bronx, and that's all that's on the map here. And, we can change the filter and go from the Bronx to the whole city. So there you go. And now it's the map of all the 5 boroughs with all the different schools in the 5 boroughs. Here on my population dashboard is basically interactive information about the population. Over here on the left you have the proportion of population by borough, and on the right you have the total population by borough and total and NYC total. And this all links to this over here. My map down here, I was a little bit challenged by Bing Maps because Bing doesn't recognize Staten Island, which was what was included in my data set. So I had to change that to Richmond County, which it recognized. And this is the 2020 population, and you can see here that Brooklyn is dominating the total population of New York City. Queens coming in a close second, and then the Bronx, New York, and Staten Island. Yeah. For program attributes, these programs, they have different meal offerings, and I organized that by the length of day, so you can see the different offerings for a full-day program, half-day program, programs that offer half and full, and programs that offer a full day and 5-hour programs. And then over here, you've got charter schools, Department of Education schools, and then schools that I believe were created for the sole purpose of universal pre-K over here. And this is all connected to the slicers below them. And over here you've got the number of programs by day, day length. So the number of full day programs obviously dominate anything else, but there are some other offerings as well. And then here you have the total number of UPK seats by borough, and this is also interactive as well. So you can see any sort of aggregation that you'd like to see. And over here, so this is probably my favorite slide of all of them. It was where I realized that you can make calculated fields and items, custom calculated fields and items in pivot tables. So I created the pivot tables with population information, and then was able to create custom calculated fields and items in those pivot tables, which would then link to charts to display that information. So in this slide, I found the total number of UPK seats currently by borough, and divided that by the total population by borough, estimating the total number of UPK seats per person per borough. And then what I did was I took the projections for population data over the 5 boroughs and estimated the number of seats that are going to be necessary per borough per decade. And you can see that there's a definite growth in all of the boroughs, but at much different rates. And then over here I found the total number of seats that would be necessary in 2020, and then the number of additional seats per decade following. And then over here, this chart, displays about the same information. And from this chart, you can see that Staten Island, for instance, the number of necessary seats, if the proportion of seats per population stays at about the same rate, is pretty much stable over the next 30 years, which is about similar to Manhattan. So Manhattan is going to require more seats, but the rate of change is very low. That can't be said for Brooklyn and the Bronx, though, because Brooklyn, more so than any borough, seems to be growing at a much higher rate. And so if the proportion of kids per population maintains, then you'll have to expect that the number of UPK seats over the next 30 years is going to grow at a pretty high rate. And from here you can see that in 2020 you're going to need about 30,000, and that's going to grow at about a rate of nearly 1,000 a year. So this is important stuff that I think that policymakers and public planners and citizens are going to have to be looking at and aware of. If you live in these boroughs, these are the types of questions that you're going to need to ask of your city council members and the people who represent you, and make sure that they are taking this into consideration, so that they all the families in New York City can get the offering that's promised to them. Thank you very much for watching my presentation. I very much appreciate it, and have a great day.